So Rishi, of all of the directors that you can think of, who do you admire?
That's laced, right? I'm going to talk about Peter Jackson. Yeah,
Hey.
and the reason I'm going to talk about Peter Jackson is he is one of my all-time favourite directors or filmmakers. He's not just a director. And I was thinking about this the other day, and I was trying to put into context what we're doing here with Stickmen Pictures and what he did in New Zealand with his production company. I don't know what it was called. I know it's Wingnuts now, but I don't quite know the names. But essentially, Peter Jackson took 4 years to make his first film, Bad Taste, and he did that on weekends while he was working to fund the film. Does that sound like anyone you know, Dan?
Oh, that's like us.
It's like us.
Yeah.
He took 4 years, and if anyone's seen Bad Taste, you'll agree it's well, I don't know. Probably a lot of you probably won't like it, but there's definitely a cult following, and it is as extreme as it can be, and it's given that he had virtually no money to make the film. So it took him 4 years to make that film, and I think it's a brilliant example of what you can do in the kind of horror film arena, especially in the 1980s when they had virtually nothing, or it was very difficult to break into film. But he used horror, as a lot of directors at the time did, to break through. So that was great. And then he got commissioned, I think, to make Meet the Feebles, which is almost a twisted version of the Muppets, if you can get a twisted version of the Muppets. I haven't seen that for a while, so it's probably worth watching again at some stage. And then he made a classic gore fest. I think it's on record as being the most goriest film ever.
Brain Dead.
Brain Dead. But it was called something else in America. And then he went on to do different things like Heavenly Creatures, which was like his first kind of film that he got recognised for. Now, if you think about when he made Bad Taste and when he got to Heavenly Creatures, I think there's like 7 years in it. So I think Bad Taste comes out in late 80s. And the Heavenly Creatures is 94, something like that. There's about 7-8 years. It's his progress to Oscar winning, or I think he won Oscars for Heavenly Creatures. It's the best picture is how I remember it.
Yeah.
Is 7 years almost from his first success. Now, Bad Taste became successful because it went to Cannes Film Festival. Does that sound like somebody else you know, Dan?
Oh, we're trying to go to Cannes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, after you all know about Peter Jackson, I'm pretty much sure, even up to the point I've described, but the majority will know after Heavenly Creatures, when he then goes on to do Brighteners, and then Lord of the Rings, King Kong, etc. Lovely Bones, and then now Hobbit. So he's like the ultimate in a way in terms of blockbuster, but and lots of other things, but it's just too much to talk about to get into all that, and I don't want to kind of downplay how good Peter Jackson is. But anyway, I was thinking about, so to cut a long story short, I was thinking about how that reflects with me and yourself, Dan, and Stickman Pictures and everybody that's helped make Slaughter, and so we're very much at that beginning. We're on our 2nd year of making Slaughter as the Best Medicine. We finished it in a year to the first version, and now we're adding some new scenes in, and by the time that's done it will be 2 years. And we're going to Cannes with it, so we really hope Cannes Film Festival will help propel us to another level. Whether it does or doesn't, I don't know, but we've got lots of plans to take it forward at Cannes, and we've got lots of plans to take it forward afterwards. But it was just interesting linking, trying to relate to someone who's untouchable at the moment, and always will be in my eyes, and how he started, and whether we can ever aspire to, or we are aspiring to get to that level, but whether we can ever hit that. But we are very much on that path that he was in the beginning, and we just hope we can stay on that path all the way to the end.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents on how we relate to Mr. Peter Jackson, and that's all I wanted to say. Have you got any other questions for me, Dan?
What's your favourite colour?
Red.